On behalf of Missouri Department of Natural Resources, I'd like to welcome you to the 2024 Annual Public Meeting for Annie and Abel Van Meter State Park. I'm Superintendent Daniel Pierce here at the park. Annual public meetings are held each year in Missouri State Parks to give the public the opportunity to provide input on services and facilities. The state park system has 93 parks and historic sites with over 160,000 acres of enjoyment. The park soils and water sales tax provides about 75% of the funding for the system. This sales tax is split between the Missouri State Parks and the Missouri Soil and Water Conservation Program. The remaining 25% of funding comes from revenue generated in the parks. The mission of the park system is to preserve and interpret the state's finest examples of natural landscapes and cultural landmarks, and to provide recreational opportunities compatible with those resources. In 1932, the original 369 acres of the park were donated by Annie Van Meter in honor of her late husband Abel, but she asked that it not officially become a park until 1933, which she believed to be the 100-year anniversary of the Van Meter family's occupation of the land. In reality, the family settled here in 1836. In an interview, she said that she wanted the state to restore and preserve it as nearly as possible the same as God made it. She said that Mr. Van Meter always tried to preserve the woods and wildlife around them. One stipulation was that she be allowed to live in her house in the park until her death. She passed away in 1944 and was interred in the family cemetery here at the park. The first development of the park was in 1934 by the Civilian Conservation Corps, and though many of the buildings they built are now gone, the 2 shelter houses they built in the park remain. Prior to the Van Meter family settling here, this land was traversed by the American Indians. Over long periods of time, these areas were scenes of encampments, a village site, and earthen structures. The Missouri Indians built their largest known village on the east side of the park. They occupied the village from 1450 to 1725, known now as the Utes site. Today, the park is just over 1,100 acres, with 300 acres of that being the Old Missouriette Natural Area. The park staff consists of 3 full-time staff, 3 to 4 seasonal staff, and several volunteer campground hosts. The staff manages almost 5 miles of trails, rental kayaks, and approximately 70 acres of weekly mowing, 22 campsites, and 2 shelter houses. The park staff also does stewardship work, which includes the removal of invasive species and 2 well-established prescribed burn units, as well as helping neighboring parks with prescribed burns. Overall attendance for 2023 was just over 30,000 visitors, with over 1,400 camping nights sold. State park rangers, the Saline County Sheriff's Department, and the Missouri Highway Patrol provide law enforcement for the facility. During the past year, several maintenance projects were completed. These projects have included repainting the interior of the shower house, replacement of HVAC units in the Cultural Center and park residence, repairs to trails and boardwalks, and several hazard trees removed. Future maintenance projects will potentially include painting of the CCC shelter houses, replacing the aging cedar roof on the large shelter house, replacing siding and windows on the park residence, and tiling the shower house and vault restroom floors. Requests have also been made to upgrade the campground with renovated sites and an on-site dump station. However, the project is not scheduled or funded at this time. One part of our mission is to interpret the natural and cultural resources in the park. This is accomplished by park programs usually held at the campground and are open to the public or by request from groups at Missouri's American Indian Cultural Center, located in the park. Our campground programs are held on Friday and Saturday nights between Memorial Day and Labor Day. We plan to offer our 4th annual Spooking Up the Park Halloween event on October 19th. The park held its 3rd annual event last October with strong attendance and a lot of returning visitors. The park's annual Halloween event takes place the 3rd full weekend before Halloween every October and features a haunted trail hike a campfire program, and a Halloween campsite decorating contest, as well as a public costume contest. In September of 2023, our Missouri's American Indian Cultural Center opened a new exhibit called Turning Back Time. This exhibit is developed to discuss some of the highlights of the history of Van Meter State Park, which have been overlooked in the past. The exhibits give information on the other side of Van Meter's rich history, such as the CCC presence, the life and times of Annie Van Meter, and even the untold story about Van Meter State Park housing of Italian POWs during World War II. All programs are free and open to the public. Thank you for watching and attending our virtual public meeting presentation. Please feel free to share this link with your family and friends. We welcome your feedback, as this video will be posted until the end of the month. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the park office at 660-886-7537 or email us at vanmeterstatepark@dnr.mo.gov. You may also use the comments section to provide feedback focused on the operations at Annie and Abel Van Meter State Park. If you have other questions or comments, you can email moparks@dnr.mo.gov. The park contact information is also listed in the video description for your convenience. Thanks to the citizens of Missouri, our state parks and historic sites are supported by half of 0.1% of the park's soils and water sales tax. This sales tax allows free access to Missouri's 93 state parks and historic sites. Remember, you're always welcome in Missouri state parks.